CHRONICON, Archive 4, Dark and Middle Ages, 477 to 1433 CE. 956 years covered in 324 date entries in 66 pages. Original research unpublished. All rights reserved. Jason M. Breshears, 2017. 477 AD, 4371 AM. With the fall of the Roman Empire the year before in 476 AD, the international transcontinental and administrative machine of the Roman government continues to fall apart. As slaves find themselves free, debtors discover that their creditors have no more power over them, people are not forced to remain on the lands they tend, and many people exact their revenge against their former masters. The immense slave populations disperse, and the kingdoms and countries emerge where once Roman provinces were governed. But the freedom came with great cost. The collapse of Roman civilization brought the widespread end of literacy, and in Rome the rise of the religious power of the Church, in tandem with the fall of the secular power of Rome, brought about the Dark Ages period over Europe and the Mediterranean world. The new overlords of the vast territories of the former empire were the German kings, the 10 kings of biblical prophecy, the Lombards, Longbeards, Franks, Burgundians, Ostrogoths, Visigoths, Vandals, Heruli, Suevi, Huns, and Saxons. The Israelite-descended peoples were themselves ending centuries-long migratory periods, and had no standard written languages, unlike their long-settled Celtic kin, the Gauls. Many of these German peoples would later adopt the Romanced languages of French, Spanish or Italian, and Portuguese, Port of Gaul. The Israelitish descendants in this year were settling new lands under new government, 10 kingdoms being formed out of the ashes of Rome. Interestingly, in 1407 BC, the 10 tribes and other Israelites settled into Canaan and became a nation, and this year is 1407 years after Israel and Judah split into the 2 kingdoms, in 931 BC, starting the divided kingdom chronology. Further, the Romans were descendants of the Trojans, and Troy fell in 1229 BC, this being the 1229th year from the founding of Rome, in 753 BC. 1. National Sunday Laws. 481 AD, 4375 AM. King Clovis I ascended to the Frankish throne. He would found the Frankish Empire. He was the son of the Frankish king Childeric I, and Clovis established the Merovingian dynasty over the Franks. The Merovingians ruled over the Franks by right of ancient bloodline. They were known by their long hair, and their tribal symbol was a great spear. The Merovingians believed themselves to be the blood descendants of King Solomon of Israel. While this may have been state propaganda, the Merovingians were indeed related to the people of Pontus, being descendants of Benjamites of Israel. They were also related to the Franks and had priorly lived in Germany and Greece. Their dynastic emblem was that of the fish and lion, some believing it was the Lion of Judah. The Merovingian dynasty actually began with the grandfather of Clovis I, named Merovius, Childeric I being his son. Clovis I literally begins the history of the French. 1. March of the Titans. 2. The Spear of Destiny. 3. The Dragon Legacy. 4. Rule by Secrecy. 488 AD, 4382 AM. Theodoric leads the Goths into Italy in a military migration campaign, the Italians and Romans now realizing how futile their hopes are in the renewal of the empire. 1. The End of Empire. 490 AD, 4384 AM. With Italy secure, Theodoric settles the Goth families in the country from aged parents to little children, all with livestock and personal property. Their train of luggage was so immense that it is recorded that in their travels they only lost 2,000 wagons. The Germans under Odovacar attempted to oppose the Goths, but they were beaten in a series of battles as the Goths penetrated the Alps into Italy. This invasion of Italy is calendarically linked to two events in history involving the cursed Earth system of 414-year epochs. This was 1242 years from the founding of Rome in 753 BC, and 414 years after the White Huns invaded northern India and the Saka calendar began. The Huns' blood related to the ancient migrating Israelites. Also in this year, the Chinese scholar Zhu Chongzi calculated pi at 3.141596, or 3.141597, the most accurate estimate made up to this time. This is further evidence of the brilliance of the Chinese mind, an intellect hampered by a culture that has incessantly opposed progress. 1. Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, Volume 4. 2. Human Accomplishment. 493 AD, 4387 AM. Agents of Theodoric, king of the Ostrogoths in Italy, killed Odovacar, the German who had conquered Rome in 476 AD. He was assassinated at a banquet. Theodoric is made king over all Goths throughout Italy, a force of 200,000 men, not including women and children. 1. Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, Volume 4. 495 AD, 4389 AM. Pope Gelasius I boldly wrote the new emperor, Theodoric, and told him that there were two powers in the earth, the secular Roman governmental power now administered by Theodoric, and the spiritual power of the papacy of Rome. Pope Gelasius then went on to inform Theodoric that the papal power was the greater of the two. In the synod in May of this same year, the Pope assumed the title Vicar of Christ. The rise of the papacy was the chief contributing power to cause the Dark Ages and its continuance. 1. The Jesus Papers. 496 AD, 4390 AM. The Burgundians were known as the Alemanni and were the fiercest people in Europe. They invaded Gaul, and the Franks led by Clovis I, a Merovingian king, led the defence of the realm. The Franks were forced to retreat, but Clovis counterattacked and killed the leader of the Alemanni, defeating them. The Franks extended their own kingdom by annexing all the realms of the Alemanni, their Gallic holdings. Clovis I, third Merovingian king, converts to Christianity, and the Franks then become a Christian nation, ancient France. This year was 1944 years after the Exodus in 1447 BC, or 108 times 18 years, and 1080 years after the fall of Judah in 585 BC. This was 720 years after the ancestors of the Franks in 225 BC were slaughtered by the Romans in the Battle of Telamon. In this final year of Pope Gelasius of Rome, he produced the first list of officially prohibited books, those damned by the Roman Church. 1. The Merovingian Mythos, Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, Volume 4. 2. The Decline of the West. 3. The Mask of Nostradamus. 499 AD, 4393 AM. In this year, a Buddhist priest returning from a land that was 8,000 nautical miles east of China, calling this faraway land Fusang. His story was entered into the Chinese annals, and his descriptions of geography, people, plants and animals matched those of Central America.